What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the NFC North Roundtable. I am your host, TD, with Roundtable Sports, joined by the usual suspects we're about to bring in just a moment. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you hit that like button. Let your friends and family members know about the NFC North Roundtable. And please subscribe and turn the notification bell on. We are live. Free agency is over a week in now. We're going to be talking about how each team did, breaking it all down right here on the Roundtable, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I want to bring the top dog in the division. At least he was last year. Shout out to Dose of Dio. What's up, man?
Man, what's up, TD? Hey, it's good to be. First off, I do love the background because I really can experience it when it's just us two chilling up here. So I do like that's the thing. Also, I will say, chat, don't worry, we're not late. All right, it's a season of basketball, right? And this is what the NBA does. So we're just kind of filling in, right? We're making this authentic. We're gonna start 15 minutes late. There's no worries. No worries. TD, it's good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, I'm glad that we're all here, man. Listen, man, we got a lot to talk about, especially with the Detroit Lions. We'll break it all down in just a moment. But before we do, let's bring in another heavy hitter. One more Minnesota Vikings trying to be on the map. What's going on, man?
Oh, it is great. You know, Baz ain't here yet with the Packers, so technically I'm number 2 right now, and it feels really, really good. I've never been this close to Dion, and you know what, Dion? You're a hell of a snuggler, man. This feels fantastic. Vikings making some moves this week. We got 2 first-rounders, baby. We're going to trade up and get that quarterback. I can't wait to talk about it. I'm excited.
Yes, we definitely got to talk about that because that was wild, man. But listen, man, we got another guy coming in. Unfortunately, you know, it was the bottom of the division. A lot of things has happened lately, but I think they now have clarity. Nick, Chicago Bears in the house. What's up, man?
TD, I've never felt better. We got a direction. We got a team. We're making moves this offseason. I know that Dose of Dion and One Bar are shaking in their boots, and Bass is so scared he didn't even show up yet. So we're ready to take the division, baby. We're back. The Bears are back, baby.
Well, just letting everybody know, Bass is at a Jordan Love convention right now. He's just hanging out with his partner. He said he's going to try to come through. We'll see if he can make it or not. You know, he's trying to darkness retreat like Aaron Rodgers did every year. So hopefully he comes out of the dark. But listen, we're going to jump right in. We're not even going to waste time. I want to start in general. Dion, Detroit Lions, since we last talked last week, what is going on in Detroit?
Man, all right. Well, okay, let's just start with free agency first. So, you know, right after our show, you know, the one guy that we specifically were talking about over here, I mean, you know, we were kind of going a little bit back and forth with Bass there. I was changing my name a few times, but DJ Reader actually did sign with the Lions the next day. So that was awesome for me. It was like my favorite, you know, move to this point because like there's always that part where you're like fired up about the idea of it. And then you start to hype yourself up. You're like, well, what if this actually does happen? But then there's always that part that's like, it's not going to happen for whatever reason. Something's going to fall through. And then it did happen. And then it kind of shocked me a little bit this week, you know, adding Kevin Zeitler, the offensive lineman. I mean, it made a lot of sense for their situation. But at the same time, again, I was surprised, similar to the DJ Reader move. I didn't think maybe the contracts would line up to how they would kind of want the vision to fall in place. But to get Reader on a 2-year deal, which works out really well for Broderick, and then to go get Zeitler reportedly on a 1-year deal, I think it upgrades our interior offensive line. So, you know, we didn't make a ton of moves recently necessarily, but they were 2 big splash moves, 2 big kind of hole fillers for us. And it really opens up the draft, which is, I think as fans, what's most exciting because it just leaves so much like, I don't know what they're going to do. In the past, I think it's different also when you're at 29, but I know in the past, watch drafts where you kind of know exactly who's going to get picked, so there's not as much excitement when it does happen. And then, of course, the Cam Sutton situation today, which I don't need to go too much into. We're kind of just waiting on everything there. But I can say that whether the Lions were in the know or not, what they did do is they did build up that cornerback room pretty deep. They've had a lot of pieces there, whether that's returning players, new players. We talked about Carlton Davis, Tamik Robertson, Dorsey's now back. So they've definitely filled out the depth. It's not like now a pressing need if whatever shakes out with that situation. But that is something that we're just keeping our eyes on.
Man, oh man, it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. We definitely need to know how that's going to end up because it can, you know, alter the plans of the team. Even though you're right, they built some depth in that area. But I'm excited for the Lions because you were spot on. You said we got to get Reader. We got to get that guy. That's the guy we got to get. And literally right then and there after the stream, it happened. What holes does the team have now? Where do you see that they need to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the most clear hole that you could point to as a Lions fan is still the receiver position. I know we talked about this last time. We said, like, what's the move that you don't love? And it was talked about Josh Reynolds being a free agent. Since that time, I believe after that show, Donovan Peoples-Jones was re-signed on a very cheap deal. I don't think that signing keeps them away from adding someone in the draft, but that still would be the position that it's like, yeah, that would make sense. I mean, it makes sense that if there was a position I bet money that the Lions would draft, for sure, it would be receiver. Doesn't mean it would be the top pick necessarily. And then, for me, outside of that, I think the guard one was massive. We still do need someone for the future there. Zeitler, as much as he's played, I think he's missed like 6 games or something like that since he's been in the league. But we still do need probably a future piece. So somewhere along the draft, they're going to have to add someone back into that mix because even Graham Glasgow's not the youngest player either. And then you're going to want to have depth behind that. But that's the great thing about it. I mean, I feel like we're in that spot for the most part. We're getting through there. And I do think cornerback naturally opens up where you not only now look at it as like, okay, we can add this, but can it really be the top pick? Like, does that even make sense? Now, all of a sudden, cornerback really does feel like it's open anywhere in the draft. And I know when we did, I did my, 1.0, like first round mock, I had us taking a cornerback yesterday, and I didn't even know of the situation. So now it would make, I think, a ton of sense that cornerback could be pushed up a little bit higher, and they can kind of go wherever they want for that spot.
All right. Well, one more thing. I want to stick with the Lions for one more real quick. How do you feel about, the media pundits pretty much saying that Chicago, with the moves they've made, they're just as good, if not better than the Bears already, and they haven't even drafted a quarterback?
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a Bears fan saying that, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
That sounds made up. That sounds very made up.
Yeah, it does. It sounds very made up. It's like it's like Pat Surtain getting traded to Chicago last week. That's kind of that's where I'm putting that kind of the level I'm putting look, because
biggest like heart attack I've ever had in this show.
Look, hey man, look, here's the thing. Like, I think if we're seeing it in the NFL right now, and I think we've seen it with the Vikings right now. And, the Bears, the way they're positioned, they're going to get a quarterback at 1, we all expect. But we do see for most teams in the league, man, it's a struggle to find a quarterback. Like, I think it can get so overlooked how easy it is to just find a quarterback. If you don't have that one pick, if you're not the worst team in football, and then all of a sudden you land with a top spot, it's harder to get a dang quarterback. So, like, that just alone, I'll never kind of, like, just make that seem as simple as like, oh, just plug the quarterback in. That's the missing piece. It's like, yeah, it's a quarterback, dude. You don't just plug that piece in there. So first pick or not, it's still going to be hard to hit. But then outside of that, like I said, hey, Bears defense last season, it was great. That was the side of the defense. They got it rolling. When Sweat came in, it was a lot better. But I still got questions about that offense. But I did like the move they made. Keenan Allen was my favorite move this offseason. And I do think that was a huge move for that team. But to say that they're better than the Lions, it's kind of like what we said, in the last show. Like, there's steps to this, TD. You know what I mean? Look at where Nick is right now. Let's just look. There's steps literally on the screen. We got to pass the Vikings. We got to pass the Packers.
Last time. All right. We beat you last time.
Who? Are you talking about
us?
I
beat you. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You beat us.
Took you down.
No, Nick, here's what you're missing. Here's what Nick's missing though. And I think, actually, I think you guys lost to the Packers twice. Here's what you're missing though. So when we were like as good as we were last season, we had like weeks where we kind of look at them as like a vacation. We're like, all right, this week we're going to go out there, but we're not going to actually try to win. Like, let's use this as like extra preparation for the next week. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what that game was. We already knew like we didn't need the win. You know what I mean? Okay. We were just like, let's try some new things. So we tried some new things, didn't connect, but that's all right. That's all right. It didn't affect us, Nick. That's what I'm trying to say. We're lost there. We still in the NFC Championship. Go ahead. My bad.
That's what they all say. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, like, people want to come to Chicago for a vacation. Really, I've never heard someone say they want to go to vacation. So I get it. You guys got to have something going for you. That's
Look, you guys had green water. All right. Who would not want to go there for vacation? But I'm saying you don't even know what color the water was when we went there. All right. They had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Chicago?
I've been to Chicago one time.
Okay. Have you ever seen the river get dyed green?
No.
Okay. You need to come see the river get dyed green and then jump in it because, maybe
that's crazy.
You know what? How about this? We sweep you guys this year. Whoever technically loses the matchup this year, whoever loses has to jump in the Green River next year.
Nick, look, you got it.
I'm coming anyways. I'm in. Nick, I hope you got a futon.
Oh man! Hey, listen, one bar ready.
Spot. We got plenty. We got everything for you. All right. We'll see you next season, Dion.
I look forward to it.
Well, one bar, I want to shift gears real quick because it sounds like so little, but a lot is going on at the same time in Minnesota. Fill us in on the most recent update since we last spoke.
Man, the Vikings have been busy. I mean, when you look at all the free agents they've signed, it's been a very fun and entertaining offseason for the Minnesota Vikings. And I'll talk about the trade here shortly. But I mean, just as far as just free agents, I mean, they're just making moves that, it's not going to get everybody overly excited. I mean, the three guys we signed right out of the gates, as far as those linebackers, was fantastic. The edge rushers, great. And then they're bringing in other guys. I mean, like even the Jonah Williams. We signed Shaq Griffin yesterday. I mean, just some depth pieces. So they've signed a ton of guys. And Vikings fans, I think we're all on the same page. I mean, yeah, there's some delusional ones where we think we're going to win the Super Bowl next year. But what we're doing, like what it feels like the Vikings front office is doing, is just getting a roster in place where they're going to be competitive in 2 years. And that's the goal right now, because we don't have a quarterback right now. And they made a trade on Friday with the Texans to get that pick, that extra first-round pick, along with 11, where everybody knows they're going to trade up and get a quarterback. We don't know where that's going to be. We don't know if it's going to be the Patriots. We're not calling the Bears. We don't know if it's going to be the Patriots. We don't know if it's going to be the Cardinals. So basically, I think Vikings fans right now are thinking it's either going to be either Drake May, if the Patriots give that third pick up, or it's going to be J.J. McCarthy with the Cardinals, or potentially the Chargers. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think anybody thinks Jaden McDaniels is going to slip to 3. I would love it. But I really do like what the Vikings are doing with the mindset that next year, I would love to say we're going to compete and win the NFC North. If I said that, I wouldn't be doing the show justice. So I do think that, we're going to win some games that we probably shouldn't. We're probably going to lose some games that we probably shouldn't. But we're just going to be a team that's kind of in limbo. They're setting themselves up. They can give up the farm, go up and get that quarterback, because next year we're going to be top 3 as far as cap space. So if we give up a 2025 first round pick, I don't even care, because we're going to make it up in free agency. So they're going to have a ton of money next year. And we'll give that thing up. We got to get our quarterback. We got to take a swing. And right now, I'd love to say, like, I just want Drake May, or I want J.J. McCarthy. I want this specific guy. I'm torn, man. Like, they each have their qualities that they bring to the table. I think Drake May's a big old swing, where the J.J. McCarthy is more the safer guy that can maybe just do the things to get you there. So, like, it's a very interesting time to be a Viking fan. I love everything they've done in free agency. They've signed some older guys. They've signed some depth moves, but the moves they made, like even with the Shaq Griffin, like we got some cornerbacks that are going to be starter, but like they got a fallback plan, at least for this year. It's not going to be a disaster. So they're in a spot where they're going to compete. But again, I'm just going to say that, like, I don't expect the Vikings to go there and win 11, 12 games. Nobody does. This is going to be a year of limbo. Get that quarterback, and we're surrounding him with pieces that will not just be a complete shit show. So I love it. I will say to the Lions, DJ Reader and Zeitler, well done. I hate those moves for you guys as a Vikings fan, but those were beautiful moves. And the Keenan Allen trade, could you put a better receiver for a rookie quarterback? I mean, that was A+. So I hated to see it, but they did completely screw the pooch with that Justin Fields trade. I'm sorry. That was gross. They fumbled the bag. They fumbled the bag there. That was bad.
So let me ask you this, one bar. You're at 11. Where are you moving up to?
11 and 23. That'll get us up to 4.
Yeah, but here's the issue, though. So let's break this down real quick. First of all, who's the targeted quarterback here?
I mean, everything you see, it sounds like Kwesi loves Drake May. It sounds like the Vikings are absolutely in love with Drake May.
I mean, you expect him to be there at 4?
No. So I think if they get to 3, they're going to have to throw in that 2025 first. Like, I actually think they're going to have to give up 3 first-round picks to get up to that number 3.
But how do you get to 3?
Well, I think for 3, you give up 11, 23, and the 2025 first. But Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, like, they're not on the hot seat, but this is their moment. Like this, whoever they attach themselves to will decide if they have a job in 2 years. So if it means giving up an additional first round pick, knowing you have all that money, go up to 3 and get Drake May. If JJ McCarthy's your guy, sit at 4 and get whoever's there. I mean, it's scary.
Here's the problem. You're talking about compensation, and obviously you have what it takes from a compensation standpoint. But when you look at the order, Chicago, highly likely is Caleb Williams, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at number 2 and 3 with Washington and New England, these guys are going to interchangeably go Drake May, Jaden Daniels in whatever order. So that takes you out of those 3 to begin with. You go number 4. You think Arizona is willing to miss out on Marvin Harrison?
Well, and then you can also look at just going the Chargers at 5.
And the Chargers at 5.
Chargers at 5 would be. I mean, they could still get Bowers.
That's the ideal. That's the ideal position where it's realistic, because I don't see 1 through 4 batting an eye. All 4 of them get their guy. And you're left with JJ, guys like Penix, those guys, that level of guys, and you say you like JJ.
I'm fine with it. Like when it comes to those top 4 quarterbacks, I mean, you can look at the percentages. You can see the first round quarterbacks that actually pan out in the top. Like, that's why I'm so fine with it. Like, take your guy as long as it's your guy. Like, I trading up for JJ McCarthy makes me a little less excited, because he could actually be there at 11. The Giants supposedly love the guy. They've already met with him. They're picking at 6. So in a perfect world for me, if we're not in on going up to that number 3 and giving up that comp, and the Patriots shouldn't trade out. They should stay at 3 and take Drake May. But if in a perfect world, we're trading with the Chargers, we're taking McCarthy, we're only giving up our 2 first rounders this year, and that's it. And when you look at the trade that Kwesi ended up doing, I mean, it essentially comes down to a couple second round picks where the compensation's fine. But I get your point. I mean, if I'm the Cardinals, I'm staying there. I'm taking that wide receiver, no doubt about it. And the Chargers, they're the team. They're the team we should be trading with.
So let me throw one last wild card in there. And I know all 3 of you guys are probably going to laugh about this. Okay, where's JJ McCarthy? Where's JJ McCarthy from?
Like hometown or college?
College.
Michigan.
All right.
Oh, TD, no, don't go down this path.
Is there a world where the Chargers make a blockbuster trade sending Justin Herbert off, and Harbaugh gets his guy that he's used to in JJ McCarthy and picks up a boatload of assets in the process? Is there a world? Would Chicago do it? Would Minnesota do it? Is there a world where that can happen? And would you entertain it?
Isn't Herbert's cap number like $19 million or like $9 billion next year?
It's excessive.
I mean, I'll tell you this. When it comes to the draft, I hope something absolutely insane happens. I hope the Bears do something just batshit crazy. I hope the Chargers. I love it. I love everything about that. And main reason I love that is we got two first round picks. We got room to barter here. We can make some crazy ass things happen. But I want something absolutely insane, just like that.
Are you sure you want something insane? Because what if the Chargers called Chicago and said, "Give me that number 1 and you get Herbert"? Are you sure you want that?
Well, him and Keenan Allen back together, baby.
Can I interject?
Nick used to be the one talking.
So looking at Herbert's contract, I already know Ryan Poles is going to say no. He's supposed to make $20 million this year, but 38 the following year, 47 the following year, 59 the following year, and then 72 million.
No, Nick. No, those aren't the numbers for the Chicago Bears if you trade for them, because they still have to pay that guaranteed money. So the team receiving him, that number is way less.
Okay, let's
It's
go back real
waiting.
quick.
Yeah,
Let's
the
go back real
Chargers are
quick.
The Chargers are the ones that, but the reason why this was posed at one point, because, and I know it's crazy, sounding crazy, but it was posed because when you bring a Harbaugh in, you're making an agreement that he can build a team how he fits, and it's not a 1-2 year plan. It's almost like we understand that we want to give you like 3 years to start competing, but you get to build it the way you want to build it, however you want to, full autonomy. Okay, that's what happens if you're going to get a Harbaugh, and we all probably can agree that's what they agreed on to get him there. So that's why it's not so far-fetched. It reminds me of Gruden. It reminds me of guys like that. You get full control, then that's what it takes to land them. So, Nick, those cap hits wouldn't even be close to what you're thinking they are, because you got to go look at the guaranteed money, knock that off top, and then the remaining contract or some of the numbers that the new team will be dealing with.
It's roughly half. So just cut everything in half. Okay, so that's good to know. The one thing about it is I would absolutely take Justin Herbert. There's no doubt about it, because he does have a connection with our new offensive coordinator from the Rams, Chargers connection, the weird West Coast, the crazy tree that's come out. So I would absolutely do it. The trade that I would be willing to do, though, is for that number one would be Herbert, a second, another second. There would have to be a lot, because when it's my turn to go through the offseason, I would say if one bar is offering up to move up with that, 9 and 23 one bar? Do you say you got?
Yeah.
You can give me those this year, along with a first next year, when I've already traded back from Washington and the New England Patriots to get them that 3. I would take that in a heartbeat, absolute heartbeat, to give it to Minnesota, because that would give me 2 more firsts this year. It would give me a ton of picks next year and a first next year.
Jeez.
You mean passing on Caleb?
You're getting me hot and bothered, man.
No, if the Bears are willing to move up, let's say the Bears are willing to move on from Caleb, TD. I'm just so they trade back with Washington. You get their first this year. You get a second, maybe the first the following year. You get a couple other picks. Then you trade back again with the Patriots, so they get the number 2 pick. Now we're at 3. Do the same exact thing, get a ton of first next year, get a ton of picks, and then we trade back with the Patriots, and then we get a ton more picks.
Bro, you got the Bears sickness.
Yeah, you just made my brain absolutely explode.
This is so Bears worthy. I understand the vision of all these first rounders, but Nick, is this why y'all always missing out on your quarterback, man?
Hey, last time we took a quarterback super high, it was Mitch Trubisky, and look how that turned out for us. Okay, just want to put that out there.
I get it, but let me say this: you cannot.
I'm not out on Caleb Williams. I'm not out on Caleb Williams. I'm just saying, if you can get a historic haul, if you can take 1 first round pick and get 6 out of it, TD, would you say no?
Bro, it's taken some teams 20 first round picks before they found their guy.
Well, then I got 6 chances.
No, man. Listen, you go get Caleb, and in 3 years, if he a failure, you use that number 1 pick in 3 years to get the number 1 guy again. It's keep going until you find him.
Hey, I'll give you that 2025 and our 11 and 23 for Caleb Williams. So I'll take that all day, baby.
Like, you want an extra one?
Yeah, I'll throw in a 2026 7th rounder. All right, done deal.
Hey, Nick, you don't notice Dion just up there like, this is so Bears. He up there like, yeah, I would love this. They think it's the perfect scenario, but
I'm picturing Nick doing a mock draft, and Nick being that dude that trades back every single selection.
He got 40 first round picks.
Build that thing
for a long time. I know Broski Bear's in the chat right now. He's going, God damn it, he's at it again. He's doing that thing again, where he keeps trading back over and over.
Listen, hey, but Nick, I gotta say this though. So I gotta ask you this. So you're under the belief though, hey, that number 1 pick is still up for grabs, and it should be for the right price.
I mean, anything's for sale, kind of deal. It's just the right price is coming. So, I'm after today's pro day, but it is a pro day. That's the one big thing, is that it was a pro day.
Yes.
No pads, no pressure, nothing. I mean, Williams looked really good though. He did look really good. and he looks better than anything we've had in a long time. And then you obviously go back and watch his last 3 years. It's pretty darn good quarterback. So this team is not far off. We still have 9. We still have 75. You know, Keenan Allen was technically our 4th round pick, and then Ryan Bates was our other 4th round pick. So I'm not mad, or sorry, 5th round pick. I'm not mad if we take Caleb Williams, but if someone's calling and giving me everything in a bag of chips, I'd be listening if I'm Ryan Poles.
Well, we got breaking news. Breaking news, ladies and
Don't
gentlemen.
do this to me. Don't do this to me, TD.
No, we got major breaking news. Jordan Love just came out of the darkness retreat, so Basaraki is back, baby.
No. Patrick Surtain traded to the Bears. That's what it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What's up, guys?
Listen, Bass
What
hit
up,
us up and told us he fell asleep on the free agency of Green Bay, man.
Yeah, last week we had a hot Monday, and then I've just been sleeping ever since. We haven't really done anything. So,
listen, man, you might as well get right in on this conversation, Bass, because we just pressed Nick about the number 1 overall pick. You know, Nick's willing to trade out. You know, get like 3 first-round picks with the Patriots, and then at number 3, he's willing to trade out again with Minnesota to pick up their first-round picks in an extra. Then he's willing to trade every single one of those all the way to 2030. He has all 32 first round picks. So
I think I've done that in Madden before. I think you can do that in Madden.
That's wild.
That sounds like Madden, man.
But we're still on one bar in the Vikings, though. How does it feel, one bar, though, to hear some really key players talk about they want to play for your defensive coordinator? L'Jarius Sneed wanting to be a Viking. Xavier Howard wants to be a Viking and reunite with Flores.
No, I mean, TD, you know it best. I mean, I would assume you probably love yourself some Brian Flores as well. I mean, if I'm Kevin O'Connell, I'm like, oh my God, if I have another bad season, Brian Flores might be the head coach. But you know what? I love it. I mean, look at the guys we've signed. We've signed like 7 players in this free agency, and they're all on defense. And when you look at their quotes, they're like, I want to play for Brian Flores. I want to play for Brian Flores. So I love everything about it. Brian Flores, I mean, Vikings fans, we all love him. What he did last year and turn this defense around compared to what Ed Donatel was doing, it was like he had a magic wand. So I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I like everything about it. I love that Flores selfishly I don't even know if a dude had an interview this year. I don't think he did for a head coaching job, because he is, you know, Vikings fans look at this as a guy that's just like waiting in the wings. If stuff goes real bad, he's a guy that could potentially be our head coach. So it's great to hear. It's
interesting because one thing that Xavier Howard said that was very descriptive, and obviously players in the league are paying attention. He said, did you see the roster they had over there last year? They had a whole bunch of nobodies. And do you see what they were able to still do? And that's where you got other players paying attention to that type of stuff. So I'm not shocked. I was shocked about the Sneed, though, because there's no real connection there. But him saying, I want to play for Brian Flores, I think a lot of those guys want to get back to their skill set. They're tired of the zone coverage where they can't showcase their skills. And in a Brian Flores-led defense, he's going to put you out there and cater to defense to try to, when the ball is coming your way, because the defense is playing everything except you, and it's like, this one's on you. So it'll be interesting. At least that's good to know that your team is a prime destination and players want to go there. I did want to ask you, do you feel like you've built up enough on defense to have the best defense in the NFC North next year?
No, I think we're 100% in the conversation. I know Lions added Reader, Carlton Davis. I know the Bears had a good defense, and then Xavier McKinney with the Packers adding another element there. But like, here's what I love about the Vikings and what they've done. Like, you're right. I mean, Xavier Howard basically said our defense was really good with not very good players. I mean, we had the Daniel Hunter. I mean, we had some key pieces, but like when they're adding guys like the Grenards and the Blake Cashmans, the Van Ginkels, I think these are really underrated signings, like as far as what Flores is going to do with them. Even like the Jerry Tillery, a guy who was a first round bust. I mean, you look at these guys they bring in, but you got to look at it like from last year. They had some guys that should not have played as well as they should have. And they're not even as good as like the Jerry Tillerys. So you can look at it and be like, all right, that's great. Yeah, he's going to continue to do what he's done. He sucked. But Flores just continues to take these players and take them to a completely new level. So I expect their defense to not only get better, but I think that it's going to be a lot better.
Well, time will tell. Let's go to Bass real quick. Man, we missed you, man. Glad that you hopped in with us. But what's been going on in Packer Nation since we spoke last week?
So like you said, I was sleeping, so not too much. I think yesterday, Josh Nijman signed with the Panthers. That was expected for us not to bring him back. Rasheed Walker is the future at left tackle. Zach Tom, future at right tackle. They could slide him in if they go tackle early on in this draft. I think they're going to draft a tackle at some point. I think they might draft 2 or 3 linemen in this draft. But outside of that, like really nothing. We re-signed Keyshawn Nixon. A.J. Dillon's back. I guess that's new news since our last show. A.J. Dillon basically took like the minimum contract possible. So very clear he wanted to stay in Green Bay, or he simply wasn't getting any offers anywhere, which probably a little bit of both. I don't know how many teams were offering towards A.J. Dillon. So, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, I think Jacobs is just like a better A.J. Dillon. He can kind of do like everything but more than Dillon. So for the money, they could even cut Dillon before before the start of the regular season for no loss. So like they wouldn't lose any money cutting him. So they're just going to like let him try this thing again, and hopefully he builds his game to be a little bit better this year. But I still see them drafting a running back. But outside of that, Packers still have $21 million in cap space. They'll get another $10 million from Devondre Campbell on June 1st. So we could maybe see some veterans brought in. I know Julian Blackmon, I believe, is still on the market at safety, which is a surprise to me. I would love for the Packers to go out and grab a guy like that to pair him with McKinney. But as of right now, no other new signings, external signings from the Green Bay Packers since last Monday. It was like all Monday, which was like, oh my gosh, so much is happening, and then nothing since.
So when you look around your division, though, do you feel like the Packers have done enough to elevate themselves to really contend to win it all in the division?
Yeah, I think so. I think 100%. I mean, safety was such a massive need, and it still is. Like, they could still go into the first round, draft a Tyler Nubin, or go into the second, get someone like a Jaden Hicks or Javon Bullard. They're probably going to do that, but safety, like the single high was their top need, and this draft doesn't have too many guys where you're going, oh, that guy can do it all, right? Where Xavier McKinney can. So I think that was a massive find there, a massive signing. And then also with the running back, I mean, they just got younger. And I'm a huge Aaron Jones fan and supporter as anyone else, and it does hurt. But at the same time, Josh Jacobs is 26 years old. And when you look at the past 3 seasons, I saw people talking about how he's not as good as a receiving threat as Aaron Jones. He has more receptions and yards in the receiving game than Aaron Jones in the last 3 seasons. So it's actually an underrated part of his game. Plus, we know how much of a tough runner he is. So I think just those 2 moves, and then you bring back Keyshawn Nixon, you get rid of Devondre Campbell. There's issues with that, and I think that'll actually help the team to get younger, get faster. Yeah, I think they're in contention with the Lions right now for the top of the North.
One more real quick, Bass. Jordan Love, are you concerned, encouraged, or nervous? In the middle there, nervous about what to expect this year? Because, he started the year rough, then he somewhat balled out on the back end, and that's encouraging going into it. But, there's more tape on him. Yeah. Teams, can now, scheme a little better. Where's your feeling on that?
Well, here's my response on the tape thing. Usually it'd be the other way around. Like, first 8 weeks, Jordan Love's balling out, then he gets worse, right? So it kind of the opposite happened. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned, say, if they pay him that $45 to $50 million, how's he going to play then? We all know players sometimes play better when they're awaiting that massive contract, but I really have no worries. I mean, this offense is tailored around a player like Jordan Love and the skill set that he has. Average age at 26 years old. We just got younger with Jacobs and getting rid of David Bakhtiari. We have 11 draft picks, 5 of which in the top 100. We're going to probably add more offensive line talent, maybe a running back, but even a receiver, which the Packers don't need, but if the value's there, they're going to take. I'm very excited for Jordan Love. I don't really have much worries for him.
Very interesting. Real quick, right back to one bar before I go to Nick. Something that also was brought up today. Do you think this would be an even or a fair trade if Minnesota offered to send Justin Jefferson to Arizona for the number 4 pick to have 3 first-round picks?
God, no.
Not at all?
I'm out. I mean, no. I mean, what are we going to do? So we have 4. I mean, so we're going to take our quarterback I mean, I don't know what they would do with it. I mean, so clearly it'd be for a quarterback, but then, I mean, I would almost be more opt to take like a receiver there and wait for like a Penix or something at 23. Like, I just don't know what they would do with those 3 first-round picks. I would rather give up 11 and 23, get McCarthy, and have those beautiful wide receivers sitting there. Like, I think that's a better trade. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I just don't think the value is there. Nick's laughing up there. I don't know.
I'm just wondering.
No, because Dion's been sitting by himself for like 20 minutes now.
No way.
Someone called it out. I felt bad.
I'll just say this real quick. To go up to number 4 for Jefferson, I'm out. Like, no way in hell.
You don't think that's the value?
It might be the value, but we have a guy that's 24 years old and is best receiver in the league, top 3 receiver. All right, I'll give a little padding there. Like, why would you do it? Like, I don't get it. Like, you still have 11 and 23. You can trade up, get your quarterback, see what happens. Trade him in 2 years when he wants another pay increase.
But what if Marvin Harrison Jr. is on the board at 4?
Doesn't make sense. I mean, we got Jefferson, a proven commodity. I mean, Harrison Jr., I think he's gonna be fantastic. I don't doubt that one damn bit. But when you got Sam Darnold throwing him the ball, he's probably not gonna be that great. So I'm for Harrison Jr. on a rookie contract. For Justin Jefferson, it doesn't make sense.
Interesting. Just wondering.
Quarterback. We need a quarterback.
I just think it might be tougher than you think to go up in that.
It is,
because you're not the only team that's going to be trying either.
No, you know what? You're. It's not like it's that crazy of an offer to throw out there, but like we just need a little bit more.
Yeah, it's like the extra pick that you guys picked up is massive for you guys, but it just seems like a little bit more is going to be needed to get in 1 through 5 area. Just interesting. I can't wait to see. I've never been more excited about a draft in my life because so many different teams are relying on so many different teams, and it's going to be interesting. And all everyone needs is one move to happen. Absolutely. The Bears to be the Bears and trade out of that pick.
Don't start with me, PD. Don't start with me.
Nick, man, what's the plan? Justin Fields is gone. You got a 6th, a conditional, maybe a 4th. What happened? What's going on, man, in Chicagoland?
Okay, so first of all, it's been a fantastic offseason. You know, even with Justin Fields getting dealted, it's been a great offseason for the Bears. A lot to look forward to. You know, I really feel like Ryan Poles has been doing a fantastic job. Just want to give him a shout out real quick as the general manager. He literally walked in when we were in debt. We had nothing going for us. One bar, you got nothing going. Just hang on, man. You know, we have cap now. We walked into the offseason with $80+ million. That was after releasing Eddie Jackson and Cody Whitehair, 2 guys that just weren't performing anymore. Great on the 2018 team, but that was also 6 years ago. So made the move there, went out and got Ryan Bates as a depth piece or potential starting center from the Bills for a 5th round pick. So that was our 5th round pick that we got rid of. You know, extended Jalen Johnson, locked him up for the next 4 years, was super pumped about that, and also was a cap-friendly contract for who he is. And then we got Kevin Byard to replace our safety, so an all-pro. We also went out and got Jonathan Daniels, stole Simone Biles from the Packers. Thanks for that, Bass. And then, you know, a couple other really good players. You know, our entire coaching staff's new. Brought in Gerald Everett, like him as our TE2. And then, obviously, the big recent one, Keenan Allen, was, you know, big money, like a 4th round pick. So overall, I think it's been a great offseason so far. And the Bears still have $28 million left in cap. And you got to put some money aside for your rookies, but they can still make some moves. Overall, though, the team's better than last year. And we're looking at Caleb Williams right now as our quarterback. So I'm pumped about it.
So I got to ask the other 3 guys, let's be honest, they did make some moves now. So if they hit on the quarterback, are you all not concerned at all?
I'll start. No, I'm never really concerned. I mean, they're going to surround, I guess it's Caleb Williams at this point, like, right? They're going to surround him with all these weapons, and I feel like there's still going to be an issue there. Like, there's still going to be an excuse like there was with Fields. And if I'm being honest, like, if I was a Bears fan, I would have said kept on the Fields, and like Nick says, get a haul for all those picks. Just keep building.
I wanted to keep Fields.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but, you're putting a lot of bank on a rookie quarterback because you have to play a snap. At least I think Fields is kind of showing some hope there, which is still wild that he only got traded for a 6th round. But I don't know. I'll be worried when I see it. I'm not going to be worried based off the paper, man. It's what's on paper. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big thing, first off, here's where I will give, because Nick's brought this up a few times. Their offensive coordinator getting Waldron in there, actually, like, thinking about that could actually be huge for this team. And offensive coordinator is massive when you have a defensive coach, like that's huge. So that could be huge for and you're saying if they hits, am I worried about that? Well, if he hits, then it means it's working. I mean, because it's going to be hard for us to look at it and say it hit and then see it not work. I mean, no one would argue Justin Fields hit with the Chicago Bears. If Justin Fields does well when he leaves, it's like, well, okay, hold up. The Chicago Bears just have a terrible system around him. I will say, though, I think one of the concerns with Chicago, and I guess this is a concern with a lot of teams that I would have, is I still think, and they're going to address it, but as Nick's laid out with the picks, number one, I think if you don't trade back from one, it would make a lot of sense. I would think as the outsider looking in, like to maybe try to trade back with that second pick, even if it's not too far. Because as we talk about, right, you're giving up these picks. They don't have a lot of draft capital once you get to this spot. And it still feels like the interior offensive line could definitely use work. I mean, you still got Nate Davis, right, plugged in at right guard. There was complaints about him last season. And then even if you add guys like, Swift and, he's been injured, he's been dinged up. But even a guy like Keenan Allen, we know Keenan Allen will miss time too. So it's like you have guys in place. I don't think it's still like the Jets extent where I'm like, oh, goodness, this thing could get messy fast. Like they got players now, but how is that going to last? But the Bears still do feel like they still need to get like that young talent pushed in there, especially with the young quarterback that can kind of grow together. And that's just going to have bumps on its own. But I think the biggest reason for optimism is the offensive coordinator. But that offensive line still feels like it needs work.
What about you, Lombard?
No, I think the Bears set themselves up pretty damn good for a rookie quarterback. So, I mean, as far as Caleb Williams, I think he's going into a very, very solid situation. You got to look at Swift. Keenan Allen, like I already said, I mean, I couldn't think of a better receiver to throw with a rookie quarterback. So if Keenan Allen doesn't perform in Chicago, I'm not even putting it on Chicago. I'm putting it on Caleb Williams. So we'll see. He should be the pick. He will be the pick. I think Chicago has done a very good job this offseason to surround some weapons there. Offensive line, yeah, might be a little bit dicey, but he can move. He can shake. He'll make things happen. I just think when it comes to the Bears, the fact that it was, and I know it's a conditional, could be a 4th-round pick. I just think they completely dropped the ball. That's crazy. That was a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields. And if I'm the Bears, if it's a 6th-round pick, I'm saying screw it. I'm rolling with Justin Fields. Bring me Marvin Harrison. Let's see what this dude can actually do, and we'll see what happens.
So, going back on the 6th pick, I give hats off to Ryan Poles right there because there were better offers that the Bears got. They talked about it. There was a couple of offers for a 3rd. There was a couple of offers for a for sure 4th later on, and that could move up to a 3rd. But it's where Fields wanted to go. And they kept him, and it was a classy move by the general manager, in my personal opinion. I would have kept Fields, though, traded back, kind of like what you're saying, get a Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon, because we do need a center. We did go out and get Coleman Shelton on a 1-year deal, Super Bowl center for the Rams. Overall, we did improve the interior. And then Dion, kind of like what you were saying, Nate Davis, I mean, he was banged up last year. His mom passed away, so mentally he just wasn't there to be on the field. So he's actually a really nice guy. My mom works in the same town that's like her office is right next to his house. So like when she walks, she'll like see him sometimes, and he's a really nice guy. But he even told her, he was like, yeah, I just like couldn't play. Like I literally couldn't focus. My mom passed away before week 1. Like, so yeah, I don't blame him at all there. Like that's hard to take. Tevin Jenkins, I mean, they've thrown him anywhere and everywhere, and he's performed in every position that he's gone into. Like he came to the NFL as a tackle. They throw him in at right guard. He did great. Throw him in at left guard. He did great. The one thing, his injury history. And I think like that's the theme of this team right now. What you guys are all saying is that even though it looks really good on paper, the key is that this entire team has to stay healthy, because if they don't stay healthy, then what are they going to do? It's going to be a bunch of second stringers out there like we had last year, and that doesn't work out. in regards to Fields, I think that they should have built around him. He did show promise, like Bass was saying, but at the same time, like Poles, that wasn't the guy he drafted. I also see that part of it too. And you have an opportunity to go out and get Caleb Williams, who could be a generational type player. I mean, he looks really good in games. He looked really good so far. His combine's going really well. It went well, even though he didn't perform in it. Pro day went really well. So if it works, it works. And Waldron is great at unlocking any quarterback. I mean, he made Geno Smith a Pro Bowler and got him the bag. So I'm overall super excited about what this team can do. Tyler Scott, we still don't know if he can be a wide receiver 3. But also, Brendan Rice was at the pro day today, and he's a projected 3rd-round pick. And I would love for the Bears to bring in Brendan Rice to pair with Caleb Williams again. So use that one on Williams. Go out and get the edge to pair with Montez Sweat, because we didn't get Danielle Hunter or another guy like that in free agency. But get a Dallas Turner, get a Jared Verse, get a Chop Robinson, put him against Montez Sweat. They play together for the next 4 years, rookie contract versus vet contract. So when Sweat's done, we still have the other guy. And then at 3, go out and get the wide receiver of Brendan Rice. And then the 4th round from the Eagles, you do whatever you want. So I think the team is still in good position.
So, Nick, you got the plan to win the division next year.
Hey, I think so. You know me.
Let's go.
The Kool-Aid's already been made, ready to go. Like, I'm ready to just dunk my head in it at this point. I'm excited. Sorry, TD.
No, you're good. You're good. Let me ask you this. So, you think Caleb's going to come in and be the best quarterback in the division off rip?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll be second, though.
Second best? Behind who? Because this is going to tell us a lot.
Well, we know who he's talking about. Go ahead, Nick.
Look at Bass.
Dion knows what he's talking about. I mean, again, I don't know. I want to see. I will change my comment if Jordan Love can come out and do what he did in the second half of the season all next year. Because we talked about this. Like, he only did it for half a season, so he got hot. But like we also said, he has a lot more film on him. Defenses can see what he can do now. So if Jordan Love can go on and do it, then kick Williams down to 3rd. But, Nick Mullins is looking like the 4th one right now, right?
Oh, Sam Darnold. Man. You got Sam effing Darnold, baby.
I am glad that Caleb Williams is a big Packers fan, because he's going to be thrown to them a lot. I promise you.
Oh, man. I hope not. I hope not.
But I did watch the pro day. I was impressed. Was that last throw like a 70-yarder or something like that, man?
71-yarder on a dime.
Oh, man. I mean, did you guys get a chance to see that?
Yeah, it looked like Zach Wilson, right?
No, that's a drink. We made a drinking game.
You remember those pro
day?
day? You remember that pro day? Remember that Zach Wilson pro day? Look like the next great.
Across the body.
Yep. 70 yards. Yep. Boom.
One bar. You guys got to get a quarterback, man. I don't want y'all to be lost in the fray, man, because it's obvious what Chicago is about to do. And the only team that is still trying to figure it out is the Minnesota Vikings in that regards. So you feel good that it will happen and they'll get someone they love and they can come in and play. Start day one.
Start day one. I think that depends. Like, if they go up and get a Drake May, to me right now, it's Drake May or JJ McCarthy. And I'd love to throw Jaden Daniels in there, but I just think that Washington is just going to be all over that dude. And obviously Williams is going 1. So as Vikings fans, we want this trade to happen now. Go up and get 4 and just say, look, we're going to get McCarthy. And we know he's their guy. If they wait till draft day, it's going to be horrifying. It's going to be terrifying. And you know what? There's going to be other teams like the Giants. I mean, I know we got the capital to go up there, but maybe the Giants give up just an obscene amount to go up and get their guy. So we got to get our quarterback. And like I said before, to me, between May or McCarthy, I'd rather have May. But if it's McCarthy, I'm not going to be worried. First round quarterbacks, you can flip a coin if they're going to be good or not.
Which is true. But some of them have to have certain intangibles, but I do like this class because they all have something that you can look at and say, I think they might be something.
TD, who's your guy, May or McCarthy, if you're starting a franchise?
I like JJ better.
Do you get to sit him behind someone? I feel like these quarterbacks are getting forced into start him instantly, and that's the problem in the NFL. Like, look at the last 2 draft classes. Like, none of those quarterbacks are on the same teams. Except
I used to feel that way, but I don't know. I'm starting to feel like Bass, you have the luxury to say that because Jordan Love and what happened, right?
Well, it's happened since 1990. Yeah, all 3 of them pretty much. I mean, they sat behind people.
But ballers are ballers.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people are
CJ Strouds.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I think a lot of people are giving up on, like, these quarterbacks are put in a bad situation, or they're giving up on too early. Justin Fields, I think Fields could excel in certain situations. The Bears wasn't one of them, but I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say when these quarterbacks it's hard to say when these quarterbacks are thrown into a situation that's not great to begin with. You know, if Jordan Love was thrown in the moment he was drafted, he probably wouldn't be what he is right now, and he wouldn't be set to make a mega deal. That's just my opinion on it.
It's true that they discard them too early.
Yes. Yeah.
But I just personally, I don't feel like it's no issue with going ahead and playing them right away, but at least have an expectation of no expectation in the first year or two. You know, I think that's the issue, is the expectations coming straight out. But when you draft the guy in the top 5, I mean, is it unfair to have the expectation?
I guess that's hard to say. I mean, yeah, if you're top 5, you probably, you know, even if you have another guy like a Sam Darnold, I mean, he's going to throw 2 picks in a game and people are going to be screaming for the next guy. So, you know, it's hard to say.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, these are interesting times, ladies and gentlemen. The Detroit Lions, they don't have to deal with all these quarterback issues. They're sitting high and pretty. Their run game got a little better because they got a player on the run. That's neither here nor there. Y'all didn't catch that one. He caught it late. But yeah, that'll be sorted out. But then you got the Green Bay Packers at the end of the day. They don't have that issue as well. They found their guy for the future. Just trying to surefire the roster. The Minnesota Vikings, they're in limbo. Don't know what they're going to be able to do, what they're going to do. They got to figure it out as it comes. And unfortunately, they may not have an answer until the draft. And the Chicago Bears, everyone knows what they're going to do. Or do they? They are the Chicago Bears. They might take they might take a punter with number 1. Who knows? I don't know. But
come on, TD.
Time will tell. Any last words, Dion, before we get out of here?
Man, I can't read what I wrote down or something I was gonna I can't read what I wrote down, to be honest.
Go ahead.
I truly can't read. I don't know what I wrote down. I think I had a question for one bar. And I want, do you see a scenario? Because I feel like I could vision this. That pick that Minnesota traded up for at 23 is actually the pick that's going to be the quarterback, and then at 11, possibly like a defensive back or something like that to a young unit. Like, because I see a vision that's how this is going to work itself out.
If this goes till draft day, I could absolutely see that happening, where they take a Byron Murphy or somebody at 11, and then Michael Penix, Bo Nix, whatever is their guy.
Wow.
I mean, it sounds like Houston called them. Is like, I mean, that's the reports. They're like, it's not like the Vikings said, hey, look, what can we do? So I think they did this move, and the compensation wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad at all. So I think they're just giving themselves options. So as much as I want them to trade up and just be done with it, so we know they're taking a quarterback just for like emotional reasons, I think anything is on the table. Absolutely.
I do like Penix, though. I do like Penix.
He'd be fun to draft at 23. I'd take him at 23.
And now
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Penix at 23. I'm with you. I think that's what's going to happen here.
I just don't want Bo Nix. I'm sorry.
Man, I gotta say this. I have to say this. The Lions are at the top of the pecking order right now, obviously, right? But Green Bay is on their way. The Vikings with the right draft, and they're right back in it. In Chicago, the biggest mystery, because they've done a lot of legwork in free agency. And as long as they don't miss in this draft, this is going to be a nasty division next year. It's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of, this is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting because you don't know what to expect. But that's the way it's supposed to be, man. Shout out to the NFC North Bass. Any last words?
Man, I'm full on in draft season, man. I've been like 2 weeks or 2 months now. Extremely excited. I hated that Vikings trade because, you know, it's a couple above the Packers now. If like there's a guy sitting there, you kind of got to jump them, trade with the Eagles. That I feel like that happens a lot with division rivals where they'll be slightly ahead of you and take the guy that you're looking at. You're like, God damn it. But really excited for this draft and the way the Packers potentially could go. There's a lot of different, you know, routes and avenues they could go, but I'm excited.
Nice. One bar.
Hey, look, it looks like we're going to be probably a top 5 pick, and then we're not picking until round 4. We're looking at the Cam Harts and the McKinley Jacksons and all those guys. So I'm getting excited. It's a good time. It's a good time. I think the Vikings did done well. Vikings fans just need to be. We just need to realize that we're might be a year or two away. Just saddle up. It might be a ride.
Quick thing, one bar. Did you all offset your compensatory picks, or do you feel like you're going to get some nice ones back next year?
No, I think we're projected to get 2 third-rounders.
Yeah, I think they'll trade some of your own picks for next year to get back into some of those earlier rounds this year.
Absolutely.
So that'll be interesting. Nick, final words?
Just give me the draft, TD. That's all I want. We still got a month left. Just give me the draft. That's all I need.
Listen, it's going to be an exciting night for round 1. I can't wait. Shout out to Unknown 4ND with the donation, said, hoping Jordan Love doesn't have a Trevor Lawrence type setback season. Man, Baz, do you think we trade up? I think it's going to be an interesting day too.
I think they could trade up. It really depends. I mean, if you got someone like Nate Wiggins at 18 or 19 or Cooper DeJean at 2021 and they want to skip the Vikings there, I don't know if the Vikings, if they're looking at any cornerbacks or not, but I think there could be a trade up. It really depends what player's sitting there, but they could. It's so confusing with the Packers. Like you never can predict them. You could have 10 guys on a list right here saying, okay, it's got to be one of these 10, and it won't be when the draft pick comes around. Like it'll be the 11th guy. So it's hard. Yeah, it will. Yeah, right. Bo Nix, right? 25. There we go. Done. Send it. But it will be a very interesting day 2. I mean, the Packers, so many day 2 and day 3, or sorry, second round and third round picks. So yeah, the Packers have a lot of ammunition to move up or down wherever they need to.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to the NFC North Roundtable. We love you all. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and turn the notification bell on. Until next time, peace. We are out. NFC